Hey everyone, welcome to day 83. Thanks so much for joining me. And today in the series of Fix Your Blank, it's Warrior 3. So Warrior 3 is basically a balance pose where you are tilting your torso and one leg parallel to the floor. So essentially, you go from this position to your torso and your leg being parallel to the floor. Right? And that is your Warrior 3. And then you can do variations of your Warrior 3 where you're tilted forward, leg extends back. You can have your arms to the sides, out, which makes it a little bit more difficult, or straight over your head, which makes it even more difficult. So we're going to practice understanding how your hips and pelvis should feel in space. I essentially want you to understand that when you are in your Warrior 3, I want you to feel like the leg that's going back is almost like pushing against a wall or on the floor. Okay, so that's why I've moved my mat towards the wall so that you can use the wall to understand where your hips should be in space. And I think that's really important. I also have a mini foam roller and a block. So depending on a prop that you have at home to help you kind of hold on to initially, that would be helpful. Or if you want to grab a stool or something of that sort. Okay, so when you're moving your leg up and down like this, okay, your hip joint is moving, right? You're also moving your hip joint when the pelvis is rotating on top of the hip, okay? So this is hip moving underneath the pelvis, all right? And this is pelvis moving over the hip. So there's two different movements that's happening, okay? And the movement that we're going to be doing is called a closed chain movement. And a closed chain movement is basically when you're moving the top joint over the bottom joint. And an open chain movement is when you're moving the bottom portion over the top. Okay? Or you can think of it in a way where you're moving your body with your feet or your hands on the floor, planted down, your limbs on the floor, versus having your limbs free. Okay? All right, so besides that, to get into your Warrior 3, you're going to scooch back a little bit so that you can find your foot on the wall here comfortably. Okay, and your feet should be in like an L position. So if you need to adjust by grabbing onto your foam roller or your block, what have you, you're going to get into that position where your foot is super straight, and I want you to look back at it and make sure that you can extend the leg and squeeze the buttock, okay? And you can push that heel into the floor until you feel it like almost shake a little bit. That's okay. Okay, and then slowly work on bringing one hand back, the other hand back, and then tapping down, switching legs. Finding that position, looking down, just to make sure that the toes are pointed down. And then draw the belly in, keep your spine nice and long. And one hand back, other hand back, hold, release, and step down. All right, so now we can try it without the foam roller and the block. So when you're going into your Warrior 3, again, you want to think of it like a seesaw or like a counterbalance. Your leg is counterbalancing your top portion of your body. So as I bring my body down towards the floor, my leg goes up, and I'm pushing my leg into that imaginary wall now, toes pointed down, and then come back up. And again, switching sides. Let that leg float up as the torso goes down. Push the heel into the wall, both legs really straight and active, and come back down. And then you can try your variations with the arms. Leg goes back, and then either arms over your head, to the side, or you can play with your motion here. And the other side. And then release. Okay, so obviously this is a little bit more of an intense pose that requires balance, coordination, understanding where your pelvis and hips are in space. And it also requires a lot of hamstring length and strength. So that's why we work on doing all of the foundational poses to get that length so that you can be in this position with a bit more ease and comfort. So make sure that when you are practicing these harder poses that you do a really good warm-up before to not injure yourself. All right, thank you, bye.